Have you ever wondered what would happen if gravity just took a day off? Well, let me tell you about the day it did. It was a Tuesday, completely unremarkable until exactly 3:17 in the afternoon. That's when it happened. Gravity clocked out. At first, no one really noticed. A dropped pen didn't drop. It just hung there, suspended in midair, shimmering under the office lights. Then a coffee mug slipped from someone's grasp, decided to go for a gentle float instead of a catastrophic crash. Across the city, similar little impossibilities were starting to pile up. In a classroom, a kid watched in stunned silence as his backpack, heavy with textbooks, drifted gracefully out an open window and began its slow, majestic ascent into the blue sky. He just waved. What else could you do? The initial reaction, as you can imagine, was panic. People grabbed onto desks, lampposts, anything solid, their knuckles white. Shouts echoed in the streets, but solid ground wasn't the issue. Staying on it was cars with drivers inside began to lift ever so slightly off the asphalt, their tires spinning uselessly in the air. People walking their dogs suddenly found their leashes pointing straight up, with a very confused, very happy golden retriever bouncing gently at the end like a furry balloon. But then the panic started to fade, replaced by a strange, giddy sense of wonder. It was fun. Actually, it was more than fun. It was liberating. Laughter began to bubble up and spread. Office workers started a slow-motion zero-gravity game of catch with a stapler. In a park, a group of kids discovered they could leap and just keep going, soaring 20 feet into the air before slowly drifting back down. A street vendor's ice cream cart tipped over, but instead of a sticky mess, a constellation of colorful scoops hovered in the air, waiting politely to be eaten. It was a scene of pure, unadulterated joy. Suddenly, a voice echoed. It didn't come from a speaker or a phone. It seemed to come from everywhere and nowhere at once. It was calm, clear, and slightly amused. "Gravity will return in 5 minutes," it announced. "Please finish your fun. Finish our fun." You didn't have to tell us twice. The message sent a new jolt of energy through the world. This wasn't a permanent disaster. It was a limited-time offer. 5 minutes. The city erupted in a frenzy of creativity. People didn't just float. They flew with purpose. A woman grabbed an open umbrella and, using it like a Mary Poppins-esque parachute, guided herself between buildings. A group of teenagers used their skateboards to push off walls, creating a zero-G skate park in a downtown alley. And then there was the man on the couch. He became a legend that day. He'd been watching TV when his entire living room set started to drift. Instead of panicking, he grabbed a broom, kicked open his balcony doors, and rode his 3-seater sofa out into the open air, paddling with the broom like a triumphant Viking captain navigating the skies of the city. He waved to the cheering crowds below, a hero on a floral-patterned throne. People pointed their phones, but not to call for help to record the magnificent, ridiculous spectacle. The final minute was a beautiful chaos. People were grabbing anything they could to experience one last moment of weightlessness. A A chef juggled floating potatoes. A librarian gently pushed a whole cart of books into the air, creating a swirling galaxy of literature. We were all united in this shared, bizarre, and wonderful moment. We knew it was about to end, and that made every second precious. Then, just as the mysterious voice had promised, it was over. At 3:22 p.m., gravity snapped back on. Instantly, everything that was up came down. The man on the couch landed with a soft thud in a public fountain. The floating pencils clattered to the floor. The kids in the park tumbled onto the soft grass in a heap of laughter, and all across the world, people fell. It wasn't a hard fall, more of a sudden, surprising sit-down. A universal oof. For a moment, there was silence. Then a single giggle, then another, and another. Soon the entire city was roaring with laughter. People picked themselves up, brushing off dust and dignity. They looked at each other not with fear or confusion, but with wide, sparkling eyes that said, "Did that really just happen?" Nobody complained about the bump. Nobody was angry about the mess. How could you be? For 5 glorious minutes, we had all been weightless. We had bounced with our dogs and ridden our couches through the sky. Gravity was back, holding us firmly to the ground, but our spirits were still floating. And we all knew, without a doubt, that we would never forget the day gravity decided to take a little break. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this little trip into the imagination, be sure to hit that subscribe button and ring the bell so you aren't miss our next story. Until next time, stay curious.